some people make fun of those people that just go to church at Easter, at Christmas, and make a joke about that. I'm the complete opposite. If somehow, for some reason, your life has got you into a place that you haven't gone to church all year long, and it's Christmas Eve, for goodness sakes, go to church.
Yeah.
There's nothing better that you could do.
Welcome to the Hope in Real Life podcast with Jason Gore. Our team is passionate and committed to bringing you more hope in the everyday, real areas of your life. If this conversation and content is valuable for you, please do us a favor. Like, subscribe, and even share. You never know how valuable it could be to share a little bit of hope with someone else. Let's get the conversation started.
Hope in Real Life family, we are here with Bradford Mitchell.
Hello.
Welcome again.
Thank you.
Man, got a few episodes here just all about the holidays and the craziness they bring. How do we navigate it? Just spent our last episode, in case you missed it, talking about everything from olives to politics when you get together with family.
And Hallmark movies.
And Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
So you should go back and listen to that. We're going to talk specifically this time, which I don't know if we talk specifically about anything, but we're going to try to talk specifically about
it's a show about nothing.
Gift giving at Christmas, gift giving around the holidays, how to navigate, and so man, let's jump in. A lot of pressures that come along with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll get there. Jason, do you like getting gifts though, or are you more of a gift giver?
People, you know how they have the 5 love languages. And then people are like, so what's your love language? I'm like, all of them. All of them.
I feel love in
I
all
just
ways.
love to be loved.
That sounds like an answer I would give too.
I'm just being honest. People
Wait, you said you love to be loved? So you're a words of affirmation person.
Right.
That's what that has to mean.
Yeah, I am. So it's words of affirmation is right up there at the top, and then physical touch, not from you. Don't touch me.
No, I'm the same way.
Okay. No, but I am a wrestler, so
Don't worry.
That doesn't bother me.
I was about to
that's
say,
not
though.
why I wrestle. But then people were like, it's not. Merry Christmas.
I'm sorry. That got me. You felt like you had to insert that.
When you do it your whole life, people are like, oh, why do you wear this? Okay, right. We can decide in post-production if we want to take that out or not. I say don't. Merry Christmas. But it's like gift giving. I'm like, that's a good one. Acts of service? Sure. Come on.
Yeah.
What's the 5th one? What am I missing?
Words of affirmation?
Quality time.
I was
Might be a problem. So just because that's my wife's top gift. So
quality time?
Yeah. So, okay. So back, do I like giving?
Do you
receiving?
like? Yeah.
I do. I do like receiving gifts. I don't like receiving gifts though that aren't practical. Like if there's something that I'm like really hoping for and that's really practical, I'm down. I really do. Even some people that are like, oh, don't do gift cards. Don't ever do gift cards. I'm like, no, man. If it's a gift card to something that I'm trying, gift card. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. So I'd be silly, but I do like if I know someone wants something, needs something specific, has a desire for stuff. I think something will actually bring someone joy. I really get down on that. I get excited about that as well.
I think I'm the exact same way. My wife views gift giving as like a sport. Like she loves like when she nails it. When she's like, I picked out this gift for you. Like she got me like this, Chemex, like a pour over coffee kind of thing. And it was an automatic one. And I opened it and I was shook. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it wasn't like cheap, but it wasn't like she dropped like several $100s on it.
Right.
And I was like, to me, this is a little bit of both. Like she was like, she loves gift giving. I only want to do it if I can nail it, because otherwise I feel like an idiot. And my wife will tell you, I'm not good at getting her gifts.
Is she though? Because like some people are good at doing the things that they wished everybody else was good at. Does she also have an expectation that maybe you would be just as good as she is at giving gifts?
No. I mentioned I was the hopeless romantic in our last episode. My wife does not care. Like,
I also, not only did you mention it once, you mentioned it 3 times, and now we've been on the air for this one less than 5 minutes, and you've mentioned it again.
I was just bringing it up to try to connect everything to make people wonder what was going on.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, clickbait.
Okay. All right. All right.
No, she no expectations. She's like that. Like she likes to, she's really good at gifts. And like so my wife will tell me, she's like, I love vacuuming because I love, like around Christmas time, because I love the sound that the vacuum makes when it goes over the needles. I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. That's cool. That's satisfying. Yeah. She's like, I love when my carpet like has the vacuum lines on it. She's really into that. I'm like, okay. So I got her a vacuum brush, a carpet brush, so she could put the lines in the carpet. And she was like, no. And I was like, why?
Yeah. So
I'm bad at it. I'm bad at it.
One moment, Hope in Real Life listeners. Hey, Bradford, don't get your wife anything that has to do with cleaning as a gift.
I got her a handheld, a wireless Dyson vacuum, though, and she told me she's never loved me more.
Okay.
See why I'm confused?
Okay.
I'm
fair.
confused.
That's fair.
I don't know. I thought the Dyson home run, the carpet brush, I was like, but that seems to be like, if you like the vacuum.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to join us back
next week. Next week, we're talking about marriage.
Yeah. Okay, so look, you mentioned a Dyson, man. Those aren't cheap. But if your wife really wants one,
we kept spending cheap money on the really inexpensive wireless ones, and I kept breaking.
Yeah.
I was like, now it seems like we're spending more money than if we were to just have bought the Dyson to begin with.
So how do you manage though? Like, because a Dyson's a gift; it costs a bit more money. You mentioned the coffee thing; wasn't that much. How do you manage? Like, because financial stress, Christmas comes in, right? You got a young family. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of handle that? How do you decide like how much is enough money to spend? How much is too much? Do you guys talk about that? How do you navigate that?
I think my wife is very. I hope she's okay with me sharing this. She would say her biggest point of like stress and anxiety would come from finances.
Yep.
And it seems like that, like Christmas is only going to amplify that for her. We talked about in like our holiday episode that we just did, we kind of talked about more like hanging out with family, being around family, just like how to manage expectations. So, we talked about there, like having a plan when it comes to just visiting family. Yeah. Nobody wants to do this. I don't want to do it. My wife doesn't even want to do it. And she loves this kind of thing. But like, you can buy a present in July and it still be good in December.
Yeah.
Like, and that's hard. And like, if not, you could like set money aside. Yeah. And I think like, that's what we had to do. Cause when we first got married, I was not paid very well at all by the establishment that I worked for. Like teachers got more than me, which is saying something for North Carolina. Yeah. Like teachers in North Carolina need to be paid.
Like an out of work musician.
It is. I was one of those.
Yeah.
But we just had to be, even then we were intentional. And I know for her and I, it's kind of like this give and take thing where it's like, if I'm not going to find something that's a home run, she would rather me just wait.
Yeah.
And just like, at any point, she's like, at any point in time, you can buy me a gift if it's a home run. But like, if I'm just like trying to find something, I still think we've been married 10 years this year. I'm still waiting for like, have you been messing with me this whole time? And like, I've been a terrible husband. Like, I'm still not 100% sure that, but like, I believe her. Like, she does not care about gifts for herself from me. She's like, I'd rather you spend that money on any number of more beneficial things.
I believe you. And that's why we're going to bring her on the show.
She would hate that.
You know what's interesting though, and I think part of the reason why it's so hard is things do get made about, so much gets made about gifts, and I think that's it's important if this is a tradition that you have and in your family, and it really does recognize. I believe in part it's symbolic of Jesus coming to earth as a gift, but then also with. You've got people traveling from afar to bring Jesus gifts and to lay gifts at his feet, to celebrate, that the Messiah has come and that a king has been born. But, the Bible tells us in Matthew 6, like it talks about what it actually means to lay up treasures in heaven instead of gathering things here on earth. And I think if we can get that perspective and then say, okay, what does it really mean to do that? And as a family, and so for us as a family, like, hey, we're going to get each other gifts. We're going to spend some money, but like, what does it look like for us to actually build up treasures in heaven? What does it look like for us to go and help other people experience God's kingdom here on earth, which is really what Jesus came to set in motion when he was born here anyway. And so I think there's something to, one thing that kind of eases some of the financial stress for us is just realizing, hey, spending money on gifts isn't really the only way. We can actually go and serve. We can actually go and model what this season is about and help other people experience it.
Yeah. So what about, so you have, are all three of your kids are high school?
So I have two that are 16 at the moment. They are both sophomores in high school.
That's right. Yeah.
And then my youngest is 12. He's in the 8th grade at the moment. And we're thinking about maybe him like going to a private school to do 8th grade over again. He's so young. He's the youngest person in his class.
You got a September fall birthday, something like that?
July.
July. Okay.
So yeah, we started super early, and but he's so smart. But yeah, we're just thinking, you know what? Maybe giving him an extra year might be good emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all that to say, 2 in high school, 1 in middle school.
So what's like Christmas and gift giving like with 3 kids that are, they're closer in age, but they're teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife is very good. Diana is great at what you just talked about. She kind of buys stuff throughout the year when they go on sale, fun things that are just going to be fun to open up. And then I'm a little bit more towards like, what do they really want?
Yeah, right. That's me.
What do they really want?
I think that's what dads do.
Let's just go find a way to do this. She's like, no, we have all of this stuff already.
This has been done. You could have helped if you wanted to.
That's right. I'm like, I don't do anything 8 months in advance.
No.
I don't. It's just
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. If I have pretty systematic daily rhythms, but if it doesn't fit it, but like Christmas shopping is not one of those things. So yeah, for us, it's kind of this mixture. She's usually way out ahead of the curve, and then as we get closer, I'm like, okay, what's really going to make them light up? And then we go back and forth over it, and then we'll see where the plane lands. But we have Santa every year brings a bunch of stuff for stockings, and that's kind of like the smaller, fun trinket stuff, and then. We've got some gifts under the tree for mom and dad, and then Santa normally brings, a couple other things that kind of leaves out on the couch.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's we're trying to figure out that stuff with like the plus to having like a 4.5-year-old, and then my daughter's 8 weeks, so that's a different thing.
Dude, that's such a fun age though.
It is.
Both of them.
She's like both of them like
4.5 especially though.
He is a fireball, man.
Yeah.
Like his sister coming into the world, he's just full bore, like even harder. But like he doesn't know what presents cost. So he'll like, he sees 30 presents and they're all from the Dollar Tree. He's just stoked. He's like, whoa. But like, he'll also randomly point to a toy at the store as I want that. I'm like, bro, that's $300.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
No concept. Doesn't matter how cheap, how expensive. Yeah. So we're trying to figure that out. Like my wife and I were talking about the idea of like, there's an experience. It also can kind of offset. It's like, hey, we're going to take you to this thing. And it's like, but we don't have to pay for that till like February. So it's like kind of smart, but at the same time, it's like, we want to give like an experience. You guys do anything like experience gifts or like taking them to a place or something like that?
Yeah, no, we do. I think I mentioned this on the last episode. We try to do things, whether it's like the Polar Express, getting on that train, that's something that we do. And then we go and see lights every year. We kind of do the thing when they were younger. We do the thing where like we say, okay, time for bed, and they go get in the bed and they're in their pajamas, and then we kind of break in the room and say, hey, we're going to go out and get hot chocolate and look at lights, and then we drive around and look at Christmas lights.
That sounds awesome.
And so now they're a little older, and they're like, okay, which is the night going to be that you bust in the room and tell us that we're not really going to bed?
They've gotten wise to the trick.
Yeah, they have. But usually we either make hot chocolate at home or stop by your local Starbucks and we'll pick up some hot chocolate and a cup of coffee.
There you go.
The older I get, the harder that is for me. I'm like, it's 9:30 at night, and we're driving around looking at lights, and I'm ready to start going to bed. Yeah. But it is, man. There is something special about that for our family. And we are very fortunate. My wife's parents live in Hendersonville, North Carolina, in the mountains. And that's just a big part of our family tradition, is just being in the mountains at some point during Christmas. That is, without a doubt, one of my favorite times of the year. And I just can't explain it. I don't know why. It's so peaceful. Yeah. It's so joyful. I love my in-laws' house. It's an older house it's right in the middle of like 15 acres in the mountains. There's horses there. Dream. It's just,
That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna refocus myself at least because that sounds great. See, that's what I mean. Like that to me is like why I'm the hopeless romantic. I want to go to the mountains. I want all the Christmas lights. I want the pajamas and like.
Jay Jennings pointed out, which you all can't see Jay, but Jay is in the studio and Jay wears many hats around here. But he actually said, because you've mentioned, which by the way, if this were a drinking game and you had to drink every time,
I was just trying to find an opportunity.
He's worth 6 now.
I was trying to find an opportunity to explain it.
Man, there's 6 shots deep of eggnog in this episode. We got, but you mentioned the Hallmark movie again. No, Jay said you actually kind of look like the guy who comes into town during these Hallmark movies, who's like the country boy that like ends up the woman who's just been hurt, and then
so it's a good thing.
And they're like, oh, there would never be a pair, and then somehow they end up.
Yeah, the woman who like works for like a law firm and she works too hard and she never takes Christmas off.
And then she meets the brawny guy in the flannel with the big beard.
I'll make sure I tell my wife that.
Yeah, all right.
She'll love that.
Okay.
Okay, so this derailed. Squirrel.
Hope in Real Life family, we just want to take a moment and let you know about a resource that is available to you. I know a lot of our listeners aren't necessarily active in a church, might not even be a Christian. We are still thankful that you're spending time with us. However, we do get asked regularly, how can we find out more about your church or even just about this Jesus guy? And so if that is you, I want you to know you can tune in to gethope.tv. We have live services on Saturday, 4:15 p.m. and 6 p.m., or on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. or 11:15 a.m. Those are Eastern Standard Times. If you can't tune in during those times, we will drop our YouTube link as well as our podcast link down in the show notes. We would love to have you join in with us. Let's keep sharing some hope.
We're talking about presents. Like, I think it's one reason we wanted to talk about that is because that's for a lot of people, that is what Christmas is. And it's like, sure, we spend time together as a family, but then we give each other gifts and like, that's about it. But there's so much more to it. And like, I think some people just need help getting a little push, being reminded of that. And I think in the last episode as well, we talked about like, hey, just getting into church or inviting people if you need to, but a lot of busyness. And we can lose sight of what it really is. You and I and, our team, we hold fast to the idea that Christmas is about Jesus. What would you say in the middle, especially for people with kids? I really think, because it's interesting dynamic here. I'm learning from you, like how you lead your family with your kids. I now have 2. I feel like that's a different dynamic, obviously, than 1. But like, how would you say that you keep things Christ-centered with your kids? And like also being a pastor of a church, preaching, being at services, there's a lot. Like, I want to make sure Haley is recognized for this. She wrote in our show notes, like the idea of being faith over festivities. I thought that was pretty good. So
that is
I
good.
want to make sure I didn't come up with that. That was Haley. But what would you say?
So I'm going to give you an answer that I'm going to give 2 answers. And the first one,
you can do whatever you want. That sounds great.
Your name's on the show. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. This one could seem a bit without hope if someone is already down the road. But there's also some people that could be listening that could be just starting out in families. And for those that might feel like it's hopeless at first, I'll answer it a little differently. But man, I am so fortunate. I am so blessed. I have a wife. Our spiritual beliefs are the same. When we got married, we were following Jesus. And when we decided to have children and when God allowed us to have children, because there was a time where we were like, hey, this might not even happen. He said, man, that's going to be our first priority together. And so raising them in a way that they understood who God was, understood about God, understood how God loved them, understood the lengths that God went to for us because of his love for us, and how that culminated in with Jesus being born and living and dying, being raised from the dead. And then like somehow we've managed to keep that at the center of our family, that when we get to Christmas, it's not a shift. It's not like, okay, how do we make sure Christ stays at the center?
Yeah.
And like, by God's grace and mercy, because we ain't perfect, I really do believe that my family understands and believes that Christ is at the center of what we do.
So it's not a one time a year thing.
It's not a one time a year thing.
Yeah.
And so when we get to Christmas, it really is a culmination of this thing that we've been living and talking about and thanking God for and praying God to all year long. And I'm so careful to say that because I don't want that to sound like a cliche answer. Like I could get emotional. Like that is a blessing.
Yeah.
We've gone through some hard times recently, and I've had to say a number of times, if I got 99 problems, which I probably do, my wife and kids ain't one of them right now. And I know they're only 16 and 12, and who knows, they could go awry. But man, they love the Lord. And like my 16-year-old son, Aiden, there was probably it probably still here today, but from the time he was like 8 until he was like 12, maybe like he preached the gospel in our family probably more than anybody.
That's awesome.
And so when we get to Christmas, man, it's like, this is what it's really about. Mm-hmm. So I would say that, I say that to say how you invest in your children and what you put at the center, it really does hold up over time.
Yeah.
And so for young families out there that might be listening to this, or for young guys or young moms that might be thinking, okay, I'm telling you, it's worth it. Like, don't just wait till Christmas time. Find a way to make this what your family's about. And then you're going to get to a Christmas season and it's going to be a lot easier. Now, for those who might be like, well, thanks a lot, jerk. My kids are 16 and we don't really talk a whole lot about Jesus. And so to that, I would say, man, there's a guy that I do respect. In a lot of ways, that said for a long time, it's never too late to start doing what's right. And man, you mentioned Advent, like there's Advent devotionals. We try to make sure that's a part of our rhythm at Christmas, where you just start on December 1st and you start going through and you read a story and you're reminded of what the season is about, and it culminates on the 25th. I think a lot of people hate things like that because you think, well, if there's something for every day,
that could be a commitment.
That could be a commitment, or I know I'm probably not going to do it, or I missed 2 days, so I guess that's out the window. Perfection shouldn't be the goal. Consistency should be the goal. You can go back and catch up, or if you can't keep your kids still for 20 minutes now, just read the one. It's okay. Yeah. And so I think you can find little things like that to really help out. And then I'll just tell you, you're not going to go wrong by making sure you're at a Christmas Eve service somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't want it. You know, some people make fun of those people that just go to church at Easter, at Christmas, and make a joke about that. I'm the complete opposite. If somehow, for some reason, your life has got you into a place that you haven't gone to church all year long, and it's Christmas Eve, for goodness sakes, go to church.
Yeah.
There's nothing better that you could do.
Yeah, that's what the old man says to Kevin on Christmas Eve. He said, if you're feeling bad about yourself, there's no better place you can be.
Yeah.
It's funny. We talk about Christmas. We didn't bring up we talked about Christmas vacation.
So you know what they say in Die Hard at Christmas time. I'm just kidding. There's things we can't say.
I've never actually seen Die Hard.
I think if you watch it on Made for TV movie, I think it's Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. So he says he'll probably have to edit that one out.
I'll have to. I've made a commitment to try to watch it this year. Okay. So
you've never seen Die Hard?
I haven't. Did that just hit you? Sorry.
Oh my God!
His whole view of me.
You probably have other stuff
down.
you wanted to talk about, but
no,
Die Hard is
it can be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets you right here.
I would say on a similar note, I think Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie. It's not a Halloween movie.
I think I saw that one a long time ago, and I don't really remember it.
It's weird.
It's the big, tall.
It's out there.
Skinner Man pumpkin
skeleton. Yeah. He's it's a what's his name, Tim Burton movie. So it's weird.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, okay. So we're talking about Christmas here, finding hope. I think you mentioned a Christmas Eve service. Hey, if you're in Raleigh area, Central North Carolina area, we're at Hope Community Church. We'd love to have you. But honestly, like if we can help you find something, let us know.
Yeah, man, but I'll tell you, our Christmas Eve services are special.
They are.
For whatever reason, it's just a very special, intimate time.
Yeah.
Of coming together and remembering what the season's about.
Yeah.
We'll drop our Christmas Eve services times in the show notes, and if you can't make it in person, you can check it out online.
Yeah, and we do stuff for kids in the middle service too, so everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the one thing you're saying all that, and I was asking about your family, and the thing that I think is great is like, if you are trying to lead your family in all this, if you make it important now, if you make it important for your family, they'll know it's important. I don't think it's an accident that I feel so passionate about being in church and serving Jesus because my parents made it a big deal.
Yeah.
That's not to say that that's the only way to make that happen.
Yeah.
But even when we were really kind of wandering and lost and not fully understanding what the hope of Jesus meant, I still, from a very young age, I was in church all the time. I remember telling my parents one time I was like 7, how ticked I was that I was in church all the time.
Yeah.
And like, that's always stuck with me, funny enough. I don't know why, but like, my mom was like, don't you talk like that. And like, I was angry. She was angry. It was at church. I still remember this, but like, it stuck with me to be reminded my parents still put us in church and instilled those values and that's more like a religious kind of approach to it. It's not as much about this faith and relationship approach as it is for us now. But just to encourage and kind of like echo what you're saying is like, if you make a big deal about it and your kids see that, like, this could be your tradition too. Your tradition can be serving in church, attending a service for Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And that, I think that's a lot of things people, they don't think about, like, but what about our family traditions? Make serving a family tradition.
Yeah.
Like, make helping people have hope somehow family tradition. Soup kitchen,
look,
whatever, like we talked about.
I don't know what our listeners to know. We have people that believe all over the spectrum, but I mean, you can believe whatever you want to believe. But at the end of the day, do you want your Christmas traditions to be something where you were serving other people, where you were remembering what the season was about, and you were having some good, positive memories with your family? Or do you want it to be about hustle and bustle and shopping malls and getting in and out and running back and forth from party to party and not being able to wait until December 27th, December 26th when it's all over?
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, that's just not.
No.
I don't want to sign up for that.
No. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody go to shopping malls anymore, though?
Okay.
They're all closing everywhere.
I'm older than you are. I probably just have more memories of shopping malls.
I love malls, but they're all closing.
They are all closing.
If you need something, you got to wait 2 days for it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, after Christmas comes New Year's.
Yeah.
I think we want to camp out on that in another episode because we could talk about that for a while.
We can. I mean, so for our listeners, Bradford and I talked about this earlier. Both of us, big goal setters, love spending time in the gym, but for different reasons, not just to, be in better physical shape.
Yeah.
It involves other things, but there's all kinds of things that you can do. But a lot of times around the new year, that's when people start putting into place New Year's resolutions, new goals, new plans. Between the two of us, we got plenty of thoughts on all that. What's good, what's bad, what probably doesn't matter all that much anyway, but probably a different episode.
I think I work out to cover up the ugly. So I think that's...
Jay said you fit in a Home Alone movie.
I'll take that. Which one am I? Which one am I? One of the sticky bandits? One of the sticky bandits?
We're going to sign off. I have no idea when you're listening to this episode. If it is around the Christmas season, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Man, enjoy some time with your family. And also, I know Christmas can be tough. Look, I'm entering into a Christmas with one less family member that meant a ton to me in my life. And so I know the holidays can be hard as well. And if that is the case, and I do wish you and will pray for you to experience peace in spite of the difficulties. One of the things that helps me in those moments is actually ensuring that I'm living the life that I know that family member would have wanted me to live for other people. And so hope this episode has brought you some hope, has brought you some peace. We would love it. One of the things that helps us continue to do this stuff is by you all liking, subscribing, sharing with other people. But if there's also anything else that you'd like to hear from us, please don't hesitate to drop a comment wherever you're seeing this. If it's a clip, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, all the places.
All the places.
Then let us know, and we would love to do what we can. Bradford, thanks again, man, for being here. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
All right. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Hope in Real Life podcast. If this content was valuable for you, don't forget, like, subscribe, share. You never know how important it could be to bring a little hope into someone else's life. There's even a place here for you to comment. We would love to hear from you and hear your feedback. Until next time, let's keep sharing hope.